Hello, Libras. This is your June 2020 Mercury Retrograde reading. As mentioned in the introductory video, I strongly feel this particular Mercury Retrograde cycle has a lot to do with getting back in touch with our emotional self. It has a lot to do with reconciling a lot of old feelings so that we can find a way to properly move forward. The first half of this year, as we all know, has been incredibly challenging for us with all of the things going on globally. And it's very possible that you've experienced some personal stress as well. I'm a big believer that 2020 in general has a lot to do with alignment. It's about getting us on the right path and moving us in a direction where we can actually follow our personal goals and aspirations and start bringing those to fruition. But in order to do that, I strongly believe it's necessary to sort of deep dive into ourselves a little bit and come out feeling fresher, feeling newer, feeling more renewed. Because when we do that, we have the opportunity to actually get ourselves back into the moment and live for right now, which is ultimately the place to be. It's just not that easy of a place to be. Now, when most people think about Mercury retrograde, it's the car that doesn't start, or the things around the house that are breaking down, or the emails that get lost and then you get yelled at about it. But I also think there's an opportunity to really, really work on ourselves during this period and come out of things feeling a lot better. So for you guys, I'm going to use this particular deck. I'm just going to shuffle them up here a little bit. Now, this is not a predictive reading. This is more information just to help you navigate through this particular period. And let me apologize in the event that I sound a little bit gruff. The last couple of mornings, I've been out doing some work in the yard, and one of my trees is like literally raining allergies. Now, what we have here in the center, we have the child card. The child sometimes is just a child, nothing more. But for the most part, it usually talks about new beginnings that are going on in our lives. And then we have the tree. The tree is a beautiful card. It's about blossoming out. It's about your health. It's about your overall well-being. Sometimes it means family, depending on the context. And then we have the tower over here. Sometimes the tower means institutions or buildings, things of that sort. But a lot of the times it also talks a little bit about being isolated, being by yourself, being sort of stuck inside yourself. One thing to note about me as we put these out here is I don't necessarily read these cards traditionally. I'm a big believer in developing your own system and doing things that work the best for you. Anybody who works in this industry or dabbles in these types of things, I would encourage you to do the same. I think it's good to know basics, but I think you also have to trust your gut. You have to trust your feelings. You have to follow the intuitive messages that you're getting, and then build around that, because there's really no cut and dry way of doing things. There's a lot of folks out there that say, no, 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 you have to do A, B, and C every single time. Well, that's their method, but that doesn't necessarily mean that their method is going to work for you. Now, down this column here, we have the sun. The sun is an absolutely beautiful card. That's the sun just shining down on you. That's success, that's happiness. And it's shining right here on this tree. Again, that's your well-being. And then here at the bottom, we have the crossroads. In this particular deck, it's more about just going down a brand new road. In some decks, you can see the road sort of tapering off in different directions. Sometimes that makes it about choices. But in this one, it's a brand new road. So basically what we're seeing down this column is success in your overall well-being by going down this new road, which is also part of this new beginning that we see over here. Now I'm going to go ahead and lay down 4 more. I first learned about this particular layout from Layla, the Lenormand reader. I find her to be very, very talented. Her and I read very differently. But again, I think that's good, because I think everyone has to do things in their own specific way. But I like the way this information is shown, and you have to bear with me. My OCD tends to kick in a little bit. Now, what we see in this box, we'll go over that first. We have the clouds. The clouds can be pretty challenging. Sometimes it's a haze that's following you around. Sometimes it's confusion. Sometimes it's a lot of uncertainty or miscommunication, which would make a lot of sense during Mercury retrograde periods. But the good thing about clouds to remember is clouds always clear. And then we have the bear over here on the right. Now, the bear sometimes is about a mother figure, sometimes it's a wife, sometimes it's a mom, sometimes it's a boss, but I see this bear as more of a protective force. I would say this is more of something at the soul level. Excuse me, it represents like your spirituality in general. Now, down here we have the whip. The whip is rarely a positive card. It's sometimes about cycles or challenges that you're going through, or beating yourself up over things, or really being stuck in your head with constant periods of overthinking. And then over here on the bottom left, we have the key. Now, the key usually emphasizes the cards that are around it, saying, hey, you know what, this stuff is really, really important. We need to pay attention to this right now. And this is basically going to be the solution to opening that door and getting ourselves down this new road. So when we put all four of these together, we see the clouds, the bear, the whip, and the key, which means this haze may have been following you around for some time now, and that could be related to isolated behavior over here. And it's a repetitive cycle because we have the whip here. So it's like it's just constantly going around and around and around, which means it's possible you haven't really felt like you've gotten anywhere as of late. There could be a lot of old thought patterns going through your head, a lot of old emotions that you haven't really yet faced. And I believe, again, this period's really about doing that. And then when we see the key in this box too, that's letting us know that this particular pattern right here is really the key to getting out of this mindset, and really the key to getting back to that place where we feel really, really good about who we are and what we're doing. Now, we can also look at some of the diagonals here as well. We have the whip, the tree, and the clouds. That means this whip has been beating up on you at the soul level. It's been affecting your overall well-being, and it's partly responsible for creating this haze, which is blocking your sunshine. And then we also have the bear, the tree, and the key, which is basically saying getting back in touch with your spiritual self is going to help bring this renewal that you really need, this blossoming, this feeling really, really good about yourself. And that's key. That's absolutely critical for you. It's something that you need to genuinely partake in and take care of. Now, we can look at things a couple of different ways too. We have the clouds in the key. That's basically saying these clouds have been around for some time. They're being emphasized. It's being told to us that this haze has been following you around for a very long time. I don't mean to be repetitive, but it's just very, very clear to me. And then we also have the bear and the whip. And when this haze is constantly following you around, this whip is just going to continually beat down on you at the soul level. It's going to make things really, really challenging for you. And we know the big contributor to that might be this isolated behavior that we see over here as well. So that's definitely creating a challenge. Now, when we look at things in a little bit different of a way, we can also see the clouds, the child, and the key, basically saying we want this new beginning right here, but this haze is constantly over us. But this new beginning is key. It's absolutely critical. We've got to get ourselves down this new road. Once we get ourselves down that new road, the sun shines on us, our well-being prospers, we feel really, really good about who we are again. So what I would really encourage all of you to do is spend some time during this period just thinking about what's bringing you down. Why do you think there's a haze over you? Do you feel like you're just going through the same motions every single day? Are things getting a little mundane for you? Do you need to mix it up? Do you need to consider doing something different? I feel you do, because when we see the road down here, that's basically saying it's time for you to take a new journey. You need to go try something different. You need to try something new that's going to sort of bring that life force back into you. And I also strongly believe you need to focus in on your creative self as well. A lot of times releasing those old emotions and getting these clouds to clear up here so the sun can shine will really, really bring in some positive energy. It ushers it right in, which helps our trees and our soul and our well-being to really, really bloom. Now let's look at this a couple of different ways too. I just kind of want to go around the outside. I don't necessarily think it's going to tell us anything new, but I do think it's going to give us some additional advice. Now here we have the tower, the whip, and the road. Now this tower over here, we know it's isolated behavior, but it can also represent you as well. And we have the whip here too, which means perhaps isolated behavior or doing the same things over and over again or getting stuck in a really, really mundane routine, is just beating up on you. It's affecting your soul level, your spiritual level, and it's just constantly fighting with you. And it's making it difficult for you to get down to this new road. And then we also have the road, the key, and the child. And that's basically saying doing something new, going down a different path, going down a different road, even if it's as simple as trying something different, is going to be absolutely key to you getting this new beginning. And then we have the child, the clouds, and the sun. And that's basically saying we want this new beginning, but when we start going down this new road down here, there's a good chance that, we might feel a little bit cloudy at sometimes. I believe for most of us, when we go in and we dig around and look for things within ourselves that are a little bit unresolved or issues that we have yet to face, it's going to get a little bit hazy sometimes. But again, it's always important to remember the clouds will clear, the sun will shine again. When the sun shines, we bloom, and we've got ourselves down this new path. It's really, really good stuff for you. And then lastly, we can also look at the sun, the bear, and the tower. Now, this is the sun shining again on your spiritual level. It's feeling really good about yourself. And then this can again be representative of you. So getting back in touch with your spiritual self as well, I think is also going to be helpful for you to blossom out and get on this new road. And then that's really about all I see here. If you see something that I've missed, please feel free to leave a comment. But I strongly encourage you, just to summarize quickly, break out of your routine. Consider doing some new things. Consider switching things up a little bit. Renew that creative self within you, but definitely get down this new road because it's key to a new beginning for you, a fresh start. Because as we approach the last bit of 2020, like the last 5 months or so, I really genuinely believe that's going to be everybody's time to shine. We can come out of this Mercury retrograde feeling great. We can feel free. We can feel rejuvenated and refreshed. And once we get in that particular type of mindset, there are no limits. There's nothing stopping us. But I do wish all of you the best during this particular cycle, and I look forward to speaking with you again.